happen. So Orianna, strong champion. Peke, though, I'm never convinced when he's on it. I like to see Peke as well as Alexic on those assassins.
Yeah.
Orianna sometimes doesn't offer that position, and you know, we've heard some players, ManCloud already, just saying he felt useless earlier on.
It's interesting because last time we saw Peke play Orianna, he just farmed mid lane. He went something like 1-0-10 for a while. He was in the fights, but he wasn't making the plays. He was sort of vicariously living through his teammates, and they would make the plays for him. And you're right that it's weird to see these really dominant mid laners not do a lot, but they will stay in lane and push. Anytime you roam, they'll get your turret down, deal a bunch of damage.
This is very interesting. So Gambit are falling back to what they know effectively here. They're
Yeah.
going back to what they've played against Fnatic. So Xin Zhao coming out and Genja going on towards Misfortune. So Xin Zhao in that jungle.
Most likely.
Pretty much sure of that.
It's interesting because Darian said that Xin Zhao is his favorite champion in an interview a while back. He's like, Xin Zhao's my dude. I like that champion a whole lot. And I've seen him play it once in a while in the top lane. Every once in a while he does it. You're right, that's much more likely to be a jungler here. But here's Gambit, as you said, sort of going back to their comfort style. You've got Sona Misfortune, Crescendo into Bullet Time, and Twisted Fate, plus Xin Zhao can make so many individual plays around the map. They can carry the mid game. Yeah, okay. You guys can... Those are cheers, not boos for Teemo, right? Just making sure. But they can make so many individual plays early on that then they can come back to the team fights and Misfortune can carry.
Well, it could be Leona being picked once again for Fnatic. It's worked out okay for Yellowstar so far, so wouldn't be surprised. And it is going to be Soaz on that Zac in the top lane.
All right, so here is a heavy engaged team. It's very similar to the last one. No Corki this time, but they want to put Varus in there. But even though most of these champions are different from last time, no Lissandra, it's guys who are going to want to dive in, put the ball on one of those initiators, and start a bunch of fights. And even though you almost want to say, oh, they want a 5v5.
Whoa!
All right.
Okay, so is this Diamond on jungle Shyvana, or is this going to be top lane Darian on Shyvana? I believe top lane.
We've seen both.
Yeah.
In China, we've seen top lane Shyvana, heavy pusher, push you to your turret all the time, and then pretty good at running away with her ultimate and whatnot if she ever does get ganked. And at the same time, when you think back to when we first started seeing Shyvana competitive play, that was Diamond who brought it out and was like, hey, Shyvana's a really fast clear and I can counter jungle all the time. So we'll wait for the rest of the time to tick down, but you can really see it both ways.
Fantastic stuff coming out. So we'll see how this goes. At the moment, it is sat on Darian. There's 17 seconds. I almost want to see the entire countdown to make sure this doesn't switch around.
Yeah, the one thing to also point out is that Soaz is running teleport up there in the top lane, and if he fights Shyvana, Shyvana can't interrupt teleport with anything but her ultimate, whereas Xin Zhao can do that much more easily. 3, 2, 1, top lane Shyvana, jungle Xin Zhao.
Jungle Xin Zhao. So, those are the champions. Let's see what you guys at home have been thinking. The players are loading into the Rift. Let's take a look. And you guys think was going to win the battle for Europe. And according to lollysports.com, well, you've been going with who is top in the group right now. It's 60% for Gambit. So you guys are putting your eggs in one basket and on to Fnatic. Gambit, sorry.
Yeah, so everyone here except for Kobe going for Gambit here in this one. Just so that the casters can have a couple of better votes, I almost want to say I hope Fnatic wins, but honestly I just want to see a good game. It doesn't really matter to me too much. I'm not so petty they need to score to tell me if I'm good at my job. So these teams coming into the Rift, I mean, it's a good way to help me feel good about myself, but as long as the games are good.
I'm surprised you didn't put it out there, the fact that you got everything on right yesterday.
I went 4-1 yesterday.
You went 4-1, so it's not a bad score. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. As we go into the Rift, it is going to be the battle for Europe. It is Fnatic as the blue team coming in strong into this one. They have a big, strong result against Gambit in the past, in the last summer, and of course in the spring. Remember the spring LCS, that was one they won 3-2 over Gambit. That's what made them the victors. But Gambit, they are in the red team, and we are seeing Shyvana for the first time in the World Championships.
And Yellowstar with a very important ward that gets taken down, and that was a 3-minute ward. That was a long duration ward, so that's 30 gold and 75 gold really trading hands there. But of course they know that Gambit has been there, and immediately Yellowstar puts another ward down on the river to spot that likely blue side invade.
This is almost certainly a blue side invader, Phil, because they're setting themselves up. The question is, are Fnatic going to counter this one? Cyanide not in any position to go for that invade yet.
But the actual starting items I like about this, when you're kind of just watching the teams span out, is Peke has gone for double Fairy Charm early on. Now, it's a little bit scary because he has no boots versus Twisted Fate Xin Zhao. It's easy to gank, but Peke is wanting to shove very, very hard early on, base for an early chalice, and keep Alex under his turret to prevent any TF roaming early on. So that's where the ex-Peke eggs are, is don't let Alex make plays.
We'll see how that works out for them. You can see that actually there is a bit of movement coming on. They haven't passed that river ward yet. They will do in a moment, but it's a 1 minute 40. This is going to be a late invade from Gambit, and he may catch Fnatic out here.
And of course, they know they're not spotted as well, Gambit, so they can kind of sit there as long as they need, but they're going to get spotted by Soaz here, but Gambit has control over the side of the map, and Sinai has to go somewhere else to get his first buff.
There is the spawn pink ward thrown down by Gambit. They realize there's no vision from Fnatic, and Fnatic immediately reacting. They're going towards that blue buff, but blue buff has gone to Diamond already. Are they going to be quick enough to get to this?
This should be safe. It will become a belated base trade because there's no one here to stop Fnatic. Yellow Star and Push, you started up early on. This does, though, give Darien time to push, or at least hide in the bottom lane and get early experience.
He's doing exactly like he did against Ozone, just lingering in that bush. This time he's on the right side of that bush. Not going to be able to have the dive ability that Aatrox gives, but Diamond, he's taking away the wolves. Advantage gained.
And a lot of damage coming on to Darien, though, actually. But yeah, got experience. He's going to be doing all right here. But everyone else is trading their buffs early on. So now, the thing I really want to look at is how do Diamond and Alex respond to ex-Peke? Because he's going to be able to start getting the push down. Peke's got to make sure he's safe enough with the ward in the upper jungle to not get killed.
We'll see how it works out. Alex does take that ball and the attack dissonance on towards him. He's going to have to see how this one works out because, well, he's up against the backdoor master, of course, Peke, famous for that Twisted Fate, but Alex is no slouch on Twisted Fate either himself. Had some very good results in the past, but Darien, Shyvana, 2v1 lane. What do we think of this one? He's going to be up against a really tricky lane early on here.
There's a lot of damage, but the thing is, Yellow Star doesn't get to do much in a 2v1. There's nothing Leona can do underneath the turret without taking a bunch of damage to do it. And the thing is, though, Diamond can't defend a teammate, can't really defend a turret, but he can aggress a turret. Gambit are looking for a 3v2 if Diamond wants to go for it.
You can see level 3. It's going to be aggression on the top. Genja's going to get dived on. Cyanide comes in. The passive popped straight away. He's going to have to get away from that one. And Genja on 3 hit points.
That was dangerous. Soaz barely surviving, of course. All the summoners being burned. It was a good counter gank by Diamond. But the thing is, that lets Soaz sustain back up in his turret and not miss out very much. I actually think this works a little bit better for Fnatic.
It will do. Cyanide, of course, that passive burn is not going to worry him too much, but Diamond, he's doing what he used to do back in Kiev, back when he was on to Moscow 5. He's going for the full counter invade. He was the man that started it all.
Yep, he knew Cyanide could not touch him in the jungle right there. Diamond takes control of it. He's gotten rid of some of the early wolves. He's going to go back around. He may get one other camp out of this because Cyanide had to base.
He looks like he may well go around towards that middle. Peke has that flash and cleanse up, though, so he will get dived upon. The aggression going on towards him with 3-talent strike, not going to be going off that. And instead, damage goes back on towards Diamond. Didn't force the flash.
Did not, but Peke's now out of mana. He can't really pull this same move many more times. Just from that gank, lane control has gone to Alex, because it forced Peke to burn 150 mana just to run away, and now the TF is one who gets to shove.
So 3-man dive possibly coming on towards the bottom up to the 5-minute mark, and well, it's Darien that could get closed on. Has got flash available. Cyanide in position, ready to go for this one.
This could be successful for Fnatic. Darien just burned his move speed.
Just burned his move speed. Can he get away from this one? Tries to dodge around, gets locked up, stunned up. He has got flash available, but doesn't go for it. It's first blood for Pushu.
And that was incredibly well played by Fnatic. Yellow Star made sure he tanked it up first with the giant armor buff from Eclipse, knowing that Cyanide had no passive. The rest of his team was able to follow up easily. This gives Fnatic the first turret, but at the same time, Gambit will be able to respond to this very soon with Diamond in the top.
He's going to be going up towards Soaz. Soaz, who I believe will have that passive available as well, so it'd be a bit of a heavy dive for Diamond if he went through, which is why I believe he's backing off. They just realized, okay, we're not going to win this early trade. We're fine with Darien just taking that one death.
Alright, so this does give actually control back to Fnatic here, but the thing to point out is that despite a first blood, which is worth 600 gold total when you count assists, Fnatic are only up 300 to 400 gold, so Gambit are doing better overall in their landing phase.
Well, more importantly, they didn't take the turret down because, of course, remember, those turrets are buffed and they didn't push it heavy enough. Darien is able to actually return back to that bottom lane and continue farming.
But it will probably go down in the near future, though. Pushu has gotten to go back And there comes a gank for Cyanide.
Shockwave burnt out there. Alex Ich managed to flash away just after the damage, so Cyanide wasn't able to close the gap quick enough and knock him up.
Yeah, Pushy now has got to back though for a BF sword, so his pushing potential is so incredibly strong, and now his team having full health and mana, the flash is up for the Fnatic dual lane as well. They can survive a Diamond gank. They will get this turret eventually.
Diamond using that audacious charge to push on, try and force something out of Peke. Peke happy to continue farming as Diamond just stops that wave being wasted on towards the tower. See Fnatic, they're going to be warding out Yellowstar off to cover off that dragon. We've seen a lot of early dragons coming out from Gambit in the past, which is why he's making sure that does not happen again. It's actually going to be a blue buff ward. That blue buff will be up in around about 30 seconds time.
That's an incredibly smart ward there by Yellowstar. They know they have the numbers advantage in this bottom lane. Gambit have not swapped their lane back, and you wouldn't when you're 2v1ing a turret and putting a lot of pressure on it. So this is going to be a blue buff attempted steal by Alex. It plays into that whole early chalice thing from Peke. They're trying to stop Alex from getting to roam on TF, but at the same time, Gambit are already ready to steal away Fnatic's blue buff.
Yeah, they don't care about their own blue, it seems, because they've gone heavy on towards this one. So as maybe the focus target, though, we do see Diamond coming up towards the tribe, but she's coming in towards him. There's going to be I was about to say Peke, but instead it's going to be Alex Ich. Where's he going to go? He's realized he's not required. He may still come in towards his top lane. Not going to go for the steal. Instead, they back away, time it nicely. It's Diamond that picks up the kill in the end, though, but Fnatic, they quickly react to this. They go for the dragon themselves.
And at the same time, Peke also pushed the mid turret pushed the minions down to the mid turret as well. And now, unfortunately, it still is going to give blue buff control over to Gambit on the left side of the map. But Fnatic said, oh, we were going to steal blue. We'll do that later. We'll take dragon first. So Fnatic are reacting well, but of course, Gambit are making great moves.
Darian, in the meantime, he's gone down, taken away the golems, going to be running around to those wraiths. We'll see which way he keeps on heading. He may come around towards Peke here. Peke himself just around the side, looking like they're going to try and lock up on towards him. They do manage to catch some damage. Cyanide is there to help out, though, and they do back away.
And Diamond's not far away either, but he's just sitting around counter-jungling the wolves right now. But Gambit do have a numbers advantage on this left side of the map. They could re-dive Soaz, or they could dive Peke, even despite the shockwave.
But look at this. Look at the gold. You can see, obviously, because they've taken that tower down, despite that dragon, Gambit do still hold that lead. It's something they do so well often. When they start losing out the lanes, they still manage to keep that farm ticking. Darian just returning in time. Has he saved the turret? I don't believe he will. The other star's going to make sure it gets secured. And that will be the first turret of the game for Fnatic. So, all square. Fnatic take that gold lead.
Alright, so this is interesting now because, again, you still see the dragon on one side is the only reason Fnatic are winning in gold right now. Diamond has actually done a very good job of not getting spotted by wards, and just compare what the junglers have done so far. So they both have been part of ganks, but compare the minion kill lead. Look at how much Diamond has gotten to counter jungle. Look at the level lead that Diamond has. We talked about Cyanide early on, but Diamond has really turned it on in this game.
I can tell you that Genja not going for triple Doran Blade on Misfortune is a pretty big deal. It's something he's been doing all year long. This time around, I'm going for that double. And now we see, actually, Solar Flare catching onto Genja, but I feel he's going to be able to back away. No, gets locked up. Chain of Corruption, great stun GCC chain here. And that is going to be Genja going down. Fnatic playing it perfectly.
Absolutely well done by this Fnatic squad. Genja had flash up to dodge the Solar Flare and didn't think he needed to use it. Good catch here by the Fnatic group.
Diamond just off the side there, clearing out those blue buff minions. The rest of Fnatic try and push through. It is only Diamond and Voidal defending this turret, but they will back away.
Alright, so Gambit are just sort of playing cleanup right now. Fnatic, this is kind of the story of these teams, actually, is that both of these teams are set up to make moves. When we talked to Vulcan after their win against Mineski, Mancloud said, I didn't feel good about this game. We didn't actually force anything. We didn't make any moves. And when you've got champions like Twisted Fate and Xin Zhao on one side, when you've got Aatrox, Zac, Orianna, Leona on the other, both these teams want to make moves, keep making openings, contest buffs, contest dragons, contest turrets, and this will be a brawl of a game if these teams can find any sort of opening.
Diamond Prox trying to fight for it. It's Peke that steals away the large wraith. Now he's going to collapse on towards Peke. Alex Ich looking towards him. Let's look at his middle lane because, well, Peke has built up a pretty hefty lead. 103 CS to 85. And you can see there, stealing away the wraiths from Diamond's jungle.
That is what Peke does when he's on Orianna. He doesn't roam nearly as much. He's not Ahri or Zed here or Kassadin. He says, I'm just going to outlast hit you. I'm going to push to your turret all the time. He even has some turret damage despite never getting a gank for himself because he keeps hitting that when Alex leaves lane.
It's a 4v3 in that mid lane so far. That does mean that Genja's going to get himself some free farm. while Fnatic try and bust down that middle turret. They can't siege it out just yet because Gambit are in full force defense. Cyanide clearing out. They're going to spot out where Darian's roaming. Darian wanted to get around, see if he can get to his raids, but he's going to keep that split farm going against Soaz. How do we count these two now, the fact that they are up against each other? Shyvana versus Zac. It's not a lane I've called myself in a long time.
I'm trying to think about who scales better, and right now Darian's just going for pushing. He's building an early, I'm going to guess, Sunfire Cape off of that Giant's Belt. Soaz, though, I think is going to be better at disrupting the back line. It should be very easy for him to get onto the Twisted Fate or the Misfortune and really wreak havoc there with Soaz. I think that Darian is like trying to push a lot and create so much distraction around the map that it opens up Alex and Diamond to make plays.
Changing build from the AD carries there. Genja went back, but instead he went for the Berserker Greaves instead of building out that Bloodthirster. Darian goes aggressive on Soaz and puts a good chunk of damage down on towards him there, keeping that pressure on as well. Soaz realizing he can't really fight for this one. Alexich is going to come around here, but instead he gets interrupted. He does manage to get up there. Soaz bouncing away from that one with his ultimate. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. Elastic Slingshot saves the day.
And that was actually interesting by Soaz, because there's two mechanics here to think about with that ultimate. Is one, it no longer gives tenacity, and he activated it before the stun, but there's a dive in mid.
Solar Flare used, avoidable crescendo, turn back around that tower though, it's going to go down, he can't hold it out. Genja hasn't got his ultimate bullet time to try and keep them away. While this is happening, the bottom turret is being pressured. Gambit going to trade their middle outer turret for the bottom inner.
And this is actually super interesting. Pushy, though, also on this right-hand side, but this Shyvana play actually allows Gambit to break apart the play style. They can keep pushing with these champions.
They're keeping on going. Fnatic have rotated round towards the bottom lane, but can see Gambit, they're keeping on towards this inhibitor turret. Soaz, I'm not too sure he can keep them away from this one. Alexich keeping that damage down, going down. Bottom inner turret has gone down, but that's an inhibitor turret for Gambit.
That's incredible. They're just sending people down and getting no responses here from Fnatic in time. That, while the turret kills are the same, the important turrets are very different. Gambit already built an exposed inhibitor. That's massive.
That is a 13-minute inhibitor turret. That is very quick there. And it does mean Genja, oh, he's going to be completely caught out of position. Once again, they laid that trap in that bush, and he got completely caught out.
Yeah, so to talk about the SOS point from a while ago, no longer gives tenacity the Zac ultimate. He activated it before the stun, but it also gives ramping movement speed. So even without that, he can use it to run away that helped him escape from the Twisted Fate. But Fnatic, they had their members on the bottom side of the map the whole time, and they were there in time for the Dragon, of course, as well. So a bunch of crazy things on the map, but Fnatic are still building the gold lead, but I don't know if they have a response for Darian.
Well, the also response is that exposed inhibitor turret does give Alex a little bit of a sneaky chance to try and sneak around that back door. But as it stands, it's a 2,000 gold lead for Fnatic. Those two dragons being the big difference so far, because you can see it's still 3-3 in turrets. Impressively, for 3-3 of those turrets for Gambit all along that top lane. So they still yet to take those outer turrets.
Which is actually kind of gold lying in wait for Fnatic. You're right about that. There's different advantages here. It's a very interesting game to call, because anytime someone from Gambit presses that top lane, it requires a response from Fnatic. The super minions are scary things to deal with. It's difficult for Fnatic, but at the same time, you can consider outer turrets gold waiting to happen, especially for a team like Fnatic, who love to split push so much and just make plays in different spots around the map. So Fnatic has gold waiting for them, but Gambit has map pressure waiting for them.
So let's take down exactly what we've had so far. There's an inhibitor turret taken down by Gambit in that top lane, completely exposed. Shyvana pushing it could be a bit of a problem, but Soaz struggling to hold him out there. But Fnatic themselves have that lead. They have a 3-0 AD carry as well, which could be a big thing for Pushu.
And he's spiked so much earlier than Genja. They can actually use this to keep moving forward. And I actually misspoke, so it's Gambit who has more outer turrets ready to kill. Yeah. So there's actually more easy gold for them to grab. But when you've taken the first middle turret down, that's actually the most important first turret to get, because now you can start getting into the enemy jungle and making a lot of moves. And the two turrets down on the far side away from Baron, even though the inhib turret's not dead, that's very far removed from the rest of the map. That's very far removed from Baron. And if Fnatic pokes there, you can heavily split up the Gambit lineup and say, we'll deal with this on one side, but Baron's here on the other. So, and with a Fed AD carry, you can apply a lot of pressure in that way.
So I can tell you at the moment, the pause at the moment is because there's a player not feeling too well. And, well, I hate to say, but it's a player that's happened before to him. It is actually Alex Itch. So we're just waiting to see what's happened there. So while we do have this pause, we are, of course, going to go over towards our excellent guys out on the analysis desk. It's going to be Quick Shot and the guys to help us out.
Thank you very much, D-Man.
Quick Shot and excellent guys now.
Yeah. I also prefer analyst desk. Just saying, just saying. So, guys, we're kicking this one off. Gambit versus Fnatic. Some interesting picks. I think before we talk about some other games, let's break down some of the picks and bans that we've seen here. Shyvana and Xin Zhao. Double lift?
I really like the Shyvana top pick, actually. I think it's a good matchup into Zac, and it's really good against their team, which is really immobile with Varus and Orianna. At the same time, though, I really am confused with TF Shyvana. There's no synergy there. I'm a big guy on like synergy between solo laners and the AD, and I feel like if Alex had picked up Orianna or pretty much anything but TF, there would be some synergy between him and Shyvana. You know, the Ori-Shyvana combo is so strong, like pretty much anything except for TF. But so far, Gambit's been doing pretty well. I think Shyvana brings a very high mobile champion, and so does TF.
I mean, I really like the Shyvana pick, too. We've seen a lot of Shyvana in the LPL in China, mostly in jungle, but sometimes in top lane also. And Shyvana is great against more immobile AD carries like Varus or Caitlyn, because if you can get that ult in after you get Sunfire and Spirit Visage, she can just stick to the AD carry, and with her passive adding all that extra armor, she's pretty much unkillable. So in the late game, if you can get ahead, and while they don't have the best Wombo combo, I agree with Double Lift, if Alex had been able to make the early plays with TF and kind of snowball Shyvana, I think it would have been a different story.
I definitely feel like, yeah, I can't but agree with these two guys, especially like from my support point of view. If you're playing Leona, very late game, it's really hard to peel a Shyvana off your AD carry, so that's definitely true. But I do feel like the TF really isn't working out that well for Alex. I just generally don't like it when he picks it. And on top of that, I don't like the Xin Zhao pick on Diamond Prox either. I think he's such a great player, and I feel he limits himself by playing such a linear champion.
So talk to me a little bit now about how we find ourselves in the game. You know, there've been some early trades back and forth. It's only 3 kills to 1 if memory serves. But there's an exposed inhibitor for Fnatic. With the split pushing power of Shyvana, with Twisted Fate that can Destiny in and take that basically at any point in the not too distant future. What's going through Fnatic's minds right now?
Fnatic is still in control of this game though, because Gambit dropped the ball on a few things early. Like they allowed Leona to dive, while Leona doesn't excel at pushing a tower down slowly, say like a Sona does, poking it from far. They are generally poor at pushing the tower, but she's really good at diving, which basically, when the jungler joins that fight and gets a dive off, it needs to be defended.
They also tried to make a play against double revive passives, which is probably not the best idea. And so I would have rather seen Jhin cover than dive, but...
Well,
yeah.
We'll have to see what plays out. I believe Alex is back, so sorry to cut you off, Kobe. We'll get back to that a little bit later.
Okay,
Let's send this,
my team's winning. I'm fine.
we'll send this back to D-Man and Freak for the rest of the game.
Thank you very much, guys. We'll see about that one, Kobe. There's a long way to go in this game, I feel. This is no way a done deal by any team so far, because every team have their own advantages. Pause is about to go away, so we're about to get back into that match. So, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Fnatic versus Gambit, the battle for Europe, as it were. These teams have faced off against each other so many times in the past, Freak, and as I say, there's no clear advantages yet.
Not any huge ones. You've got a lot of different things on both sides. And the one thing to think about, I kept thinking about that top lane matchup, but actually, there's a battle in the top lane. Never mind, it's not turning into much. But Diamond and Yellowstar got in a bit of a tussle there. I kept thinking about that top lane matchup between Soaz and Darien. And Soaz hasn't built any magic resist yet, but that's most of what Shyvana does. Sunfire Cape plus Burnout plus her E damage as well. All of that is magic damage. And when Soaz gets a Spirit Visage, he's going to start ignoring her damage output while he does % health damage and starts making moves.
Fnatic 5-man push in this mid turret, and we're going to see whether Gambit do respond to it. Alex did get caught out quite heavily there, but they don't get a great deal of damage down. I think that was all Cyanide, hoping he could catch something out there. Instead, they've caught Diamond just off the side. That's a great lockup from Yellowstar. Has he got enough damage to turn this one around? Goes aggressive back on towards Peke. Doesn't have enough with the bullet time raining through. Just not going to land that damage. It's a kill for Fnatic.
And that's now 2 ultimates down for Gambit. Fnatic have enough health bars to keep exerting themselves on the map.
Well, Darien feeling aggressive there, but I didn't think he really got the call from the rest of his team. Peke is going to back away from this one. They don't really have any vision around that jungle, so they couldn't keep pushing out.
Unfortunately for them, nothing else but a kill picked up for Fnatic. I want to see what they do, though, because if they don't get to do anything off of individual kills, like, yeah, you can go up 400 gold at a time, but what really separates teams and brings them ahead is getting something else, whether it's ward control, whether it's a turret or a dragon or what, off of kills. If Fnatic can't do that, that's a bit of a worry, because it shows that they don't have the ability to close things out.
And Alex has actually grown back in towards that lane because he was around 20 or 30 CS behind at one point, and you can see now they are just 4 CS different, and he's going to keep on pushing. That bottom turret, as we mentioned, they had all those outer turrets available to them. That's going to get a bit more gold towards Gambit. They had fell behind. It was around a 3,000 gold lead. It's fallen to a 2,000, and Gambit continuing to put pressure on this mid lane.
Yeah, and you can see them kind of, it's Gambit out Fnaticking Fnatic, but here comes the fight.
Chain of Corruption on towards Diamond. He launches himself back in there. Crescendo comes out, but it's the damage for Fnatic that's doing the job. They get 1, get 2, get in on towards Diamond. They get the slow on him. Soaz comes bouncing on in there, and Cyanide should finish this one out. It will be another kill. That is a 3-for-0 exchange. Fnatic looking strong. Alexis tries to come around the side, realizing this is a bad idea. Get the hell away from this fight.
Yeah, Alex used his ultimate to try to find his way in and didn't find anything. All he can do is keep his mid lane turret alive with wildcards, but here comes Soaz!
Let's bounce, lock up, and that's going to be another easy kill for Fnatic. I was surprised that he went for that one. It's an 8-1 kill score for Fnatic now.
That was absolutely massive for these guys, but without any health bars left, Fnatic can't do anything but just take the kills and come back. And so we're just back to this 3,000 gold lead. Watch this fight start. It's a 5 versus 4, basically. Really good engage. Diamond can't do much, not even a knock-up from his Q. He gets stun locked out here, and Genja had already burned bullet time. So that combo, that 5v5 type of team fight that Gambit wanted, wasn't there for them. Genja was useless in that battle, so Fnatic got to stack their crowd controls, pick up kill after kill, and just run through the Gambit lineup.
And it seems strange that they went for it because that was perfect line for bullet time, but like you said, it wasn't available, so it seemed that they just didn't look at what was available for the team. Instead, it wasn't to be. So Fnatic, they are looking strong now. They have that 3,000 gold advantage, and they keep on pushing. They're taking away the advantages. You can see they're taking the blue buff off of Alex Hitch. That's important for that Destiny cooldown, and it is going to be Peke that takes that one away. So Fnatic looking to stack up in the mid lane, but this time Gambit are ready for them.
Yes, they are. With enough cooldowns. Well, actually, they don't have a lot of great cooldowns, actually, Gambit, right now. They don't have the crescendos. They have no good way of forcing a bullet time, except unless it's like a counter engage and Genja waits around. But Fnatic are stronger. They can just siege the turret, use shields onto Soaz. Gambit's going in anyway.
Diamond just launches himself in there. Actually, Solar Flare doesn't land on anything from Yellowstar, so that was an ultimate burn there. And you can see Audacious Charge from Diamond Prox, but he's going to take a big chunk of damage out from Xpeke there. Bullet time still available, of course, for Genja this time around, and Fnatic, they are not done sieging yet.
And Crescendo's up now as well, plus Diamond can re-engage, so there is a potential for a crazy team fight. But I want to point out that Peke's gotten Alacrity enchantment on his boots. He's actually, you actually heard Double talk about them being immobile in the back line. Fnatic are going to add some mobility to make sure that none of their back line gets caught in this.
Fnatic realizing that Gambit, they're trying to push Alex Hitch. He wants to go away and try to split push farm, but it's not working out. Fnatic, they're breaking down this inhibitor turret in the middle, and Gambit are simply not reacting to the damage that's going on towards them.
It's down to half HP, and their main wave clear in Alex Hitch was preoccupied bottom. There was already a big minion wave shoving up down there, and Alex said, I'll clear this one out, not realizing mid lane was already getting sieged.
Diamond out of position here, and they're continuing to keep those piercing arrows. You can see it was Alex Hitch that caught it this time alongside Voidal. Yellowstar doing a great job of shutting out Diamond, and they're continuing to siege down this turret. It is almost gone. This is the middle inhibitor turret. It's so important. Peke taking damage. You can see Gambit, they're going to try and turn this one around. They're going aggressive. Can they catch on towards them? No. It's a great hail of arrows to stop Darien.
This is tricky, though. Alex Hitch has home guard, and he can run forward, and Fnatic are actually very low on health bars here. Most of them are at about half. They can contest the dragon, and maybe the gold lead's enough for that. But honestly, Gambit can win a fight here.
Turning it back around, you can see jumping in. Shockwave used along with that elastic slingshot on Soaz, and well, Voidal's just removed from the map.
Voidal did not need to be there. There was no ward coverage over that side of the map. that's something that Fnatic had done with their gold lead, is ensure that the Dragon side of the map didn't have many wards, nor does the Baron side of the map actually have many wards for Gambit either. Yeah, Darien doesn't get to do much with that. He has to run away from the enemy team. But the ward coverage is actually something that Fnatic has, and they're basically making plays off of that. They're also making plays off of sieging. Honestly, the game is just going Fnatic's way.
Darien trying a little bit too hard to get something from this one. The rest of Fnatic closing in. Solar Flare doesn't land. Alex Sitch eating that piercing arrow again. He's not going to get the blue buff for Darien here. Has going to use his ultimate to try and get away. Chain of Corruption didn't quite latch on towards him, and he will walk away from that one.
Yeah, he had to predict which way Darien was going to go. If he waited till he saw the direction, he would have been out of range anyway. Unfortunately, he thought Darien was going to cut the wall off to the side, but now you're sort of seeing the Fnatic game plan working very well. Heavy magic penetration Orianna plus the Liandry's means she can poke really, really well. She'll do a lot of damage with the Liandry's proc, whether she gets a squishy in the backline or even a frontline tank because of all the health they'll have, and they're just going to wear down the turrets.
4,500 gold lead for Fnatic, and you can see the siege potential. It's working very, very well. Alex is desperately keeping that wave on that bottom away from the turrets. They're going to try and buy themselves some time. In terms of a 4v1, it's Fnatic. They've definitely been winning out. You can see top lane, Darien, he's continuing to burn out. Soaz is joining the party once again. Push, you're going to get that red buff, and it looks like it's going to be Fnatic going back for that middle inhibitor turret.
And I want you to keep track of where the minions actually end up going. You talk about Fnatic pushing for the mid lane. The side lanes, though, are getting shoved out by Gambit. Darien has the top lane moving down. Remember, this is a top lane without an inhibitor turret. Gambit can race for an inhib just like Fnatic can. And that is something that Fnatic has to worry about as that lane continues to push down and down and down and down. Minions can take the inhib by themselves, in fact. Now, Peck on the other side is shoving the bottom lane, so it's kind of like a 2-for-1 here. Fnatic will get more out of these minion waves.
See Yellow Star waiting to try and catch someone out. He's got that ward placement in there, can throw out that ultimate and see what he gets. Try and lock someone up. This time it's the bottom lane turret they're going to poke towards. You see Pushu, every time he gets in, gets a couple of pokes onto that turret, takes it down. Diamond again, taking an attack dissonance from Peke. That drops his hit points very low. And again, the siege from Fnatic is so strong that Gambit is struggling to defend.
And despite the gold lead only being 5,000, which is important but not game-breaking, Fnatic show no fear while sieging. Gambit have never once actually tried to get in on Pushu just sitting there, auto-attacking a turret until now.
Darien goes aggressive, uses that ultimate to come in. Solar Flare locks them up, and Darien's going to drop before Gambit can respond. Diamond comes in, but it's too little, too late. He's forced to get away. It's a double kill for Pushu. That's going to be bullet time. All it does is manage to pop the passive of Cyanide. He flashes away. Shockwave flashed out from Voidal. Almost called him out, but it's Fnatic that continue to push in.
And you can see it's just been a 2-for-1 right now, an advantage here for Fnatic, and they're still able to put some moves. They're going to back out with low health bars and say, we want to take away the buffs, we're going to control the map off of this.
Soaz did go down in that exchange. Alex Hitch using that Destiny. Where's he going to go? He's looking for him. Too low target. Cyanide's passive already popped, remember. Getting full vision of this one, but Yellowstar and Peke come across to prevent anything from them, and it's going to be the blue buff steal for Peke.
Alex only forced a flash from Yellowstar. That's all he got out of that Destiny gank.
The bottom lane, though, the top lane, sorry, the inhibitor being pushed in by minions. Are Fnatic going to get back in time to prevent that inhibitor going down? You can see them rushing back up there. The inhibitor not really taking a great deal of damage, so it will be stopped off. But Gambit, they're going to try and respond to this one, going for Baron.
They need to make this move. Fnatic's been spending their entire time on the bottom side of the map. They haven't gotten ward coverage over this side. They can guess Gambit are going for it, but Gambit must get this with no ultimates to try to get a way back in.
They're going for it very quickly. It's down to half health. Cyanide's going to get close enough just in time. It's down to 2,500 hit points. Cyanide's not going to get close in time. It is going to go down. That's going to be picked up. Cyanide goes in. He's going to get locked up. That's Gambit picking up one kill. So has the target. Passive not available. Solar Flare finds his target. That's going to be another kill for Pushu getting on towards him. Gambit taken so low. Have to back out the side. Diamond goes down. Genja gets away with it, but it's another kill for Pushu. That was a 3-for-1, and it's Fnatic that can turn and run for those inhibitors.
Despite the Baron, Fnatic just have more members on the map as well as minion waves, at least in the mid lane, going their way. Maybe Alex can miracle wave clear this. Maybe Genja can hold with bullet time. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him use it to kill some minions. But Fnatic can basically backdoor this turret.
Those piercing arrows from Pushu have been lethal. That's an inhibitor that is going to go down for Fnatic. You can see Alex rotated straight around to try and protect that bottom. He realizes he can't fight off Fnatic from this one. So gamble didn't work for Gambit. They got that Baron, but they lost an inhibitor.
And they're still sitting at a 5,000 gold deficit. And unlike normally when you see a team hold Baron, you're like, it's a 4-minute pause button. You won't fight us with Baron. There's only 2 guys with the Baron buff for Gambit, and you've got super minions flooding into the mid lane now for Fnatic. They are able to just keep playing the siege game that they've been doing the whole time. I don't expect Fnatic to slow down for anything.
So let's see how this develops, because those super minions pushing in that mid lane, you can see they're getting cleared out. And with those super minions going, it means there's minion waves going to Gambit. It means they're going to keep a gold supply going into Gambit. So Fnatic have to follow on from this one. Of course, that bottom inhibitor turret was taken very low. Suspect that's probably the next target.
I'd almost expect them just to take the freebies in the top lane, just because there's almost no way Gambit stops even Pushu by himself shoving the top lane out. But it's really up to what they want to go for. They can get a gold lead by pushing top, but they could probably get the base by pushing bottom. It's really up to what Fnatic thinks is the best option for them, because I can't call it for him.
Innistar locks himself up, an extra little bit of gold. He is actually got to be careful he doesn't keep pushing, because Darian and Alex Rich were hoping they could get themselves a free support kill. Not going to happen. Alex goes back up there and keeps that wave shoving against itself. As you mentioned, the outer and inner turret available, but it's Fnatic. They're going for the bottom lane.
It is. They shoved briefly the top lane, but there's Alex. There's the Twisted Fate going for the exposed inhibitor lane. The thing is, Fnatic gets to Gambit's base in time. It forces Alex to recall.
He's going to have to recall. There's no way he can try and split push against these two, because you see that turret already taken low. Pushu putting the damage on it. Peke putting the damage on it. That's another inhibitor turret picked up for Fnatic, and they are keeping the pressure onto Gambit.
And this is the thing, is Gambit no longer has a turret to fight under. Last time they fought down here, it was actually Darian diving in outside of turret range, and that's what made that fight so bad. It's what gave Fnatic control over the bottom side of the map as they sort of recovered and everything there. Now with another inhibitor without a turret, it's another easy point for Fnatic to fight over, with no terrain advantage for Gambit, with nothing to keep them from just winning the inhib for free. Dragon goes down. It's just more advantage being controlled by Fnatic. This is still going their way. It's just Fnatic trying to not be too aggressive to not get caught in bullet time crescendo.
All season long, Fnatic have had Gambit's number. They are currently chasing them in the group. This would lock them up at 3-1 apiece in Group B, and actually would put Fnatic in the lead, because obviously that win over Gambit would be vital. Gambit themselves, they were looking to try and stretch some ground, and looking, honestly, pretty much invincible so far in the group. But Fnatic have found that weakness, and Gambit are in trouble here. They're 8,000 gold down now. In terms of turrets, it's looking like, ooh, sneaky play in this top lane.
It's a Fnatic. They're pulling a Fnatic.
They're going to go towards Soaz. Soaz is going to get locked up, of course. He will have that ultimate. Solar Flare responded. Shockwave doesn't land. Darian uses the ultimate, but it's Gambit in a very good position. Cyanide forced to back away from that one. Passive wasn't quite popped. Darian taken low. You can see Soaz going to be the focus. He's got passive available just off the side. Peke with full hit points. Pushing taken low as well. Trying to keep them at bay. Locking on towards it. Diamond's going to go down. Soaz bounces on towards him. Voidal in trouble now. And Fnatic turning around. That gold advantage paying dividends, and Fnatic just have the item difference.
That's exactly what it was. A small item and level lead allowed him to just tank that fight out. The number of shields coming through for Peke, he'll win that duel. Yeah, Fnatic using the gold lead. Nice attempt by Gambit to try to find something and force a battle lopsided, but they had to engage on a tank of Fnatic, so they couldn't burst him out.
Tried to go for the sneaky play, did not work. Fnatic were ready, just happened to be all nearby, and that was the lane they wanted to push. That's 2 turrets from that one exchange, and they're going to take themselves, I feel, another inhibitor turret. But Gambit are all respawning. Remember, we're only at the 30-minute mark. Those death timers are not that long yet.
It's a 5 versus 4, and it's an injured 5 versus a full health 4. There's still a chance that Gambit pushes Fnatic out of the base, but not before the turret goes down. Now with Baron in 2 minutes, now here's the next question for Fnatic. They can wait around, take control over the ward game, and get a Baron for free, or they can say, screw it, we'll take the inhibs down, there's no turrets to stop us, we'll close it out from there.
With a 10,000 gold difference almost, I feel it's a risky game to go for that Baron when they have clearly teamfight advantage. As you just saw, they got sabotaged and assaulted on in that top lane, but still managed to turn it back around. Gambit realizing this, trying to keep those waves clear. Inhibitor will be respawning shortly in that mid lane, but that is 3 exposed inhibitors that Fnatic have. There's no way they need to siege down. They can just keep on pushing through down towards that Gambit base.
And when you got an AD carry like this Varus right here, it's pretty easy for Fnatic to push you out. So, Yellow Star and Co moving up the mid lane, the mid inhib. Respawning, yeah, it has just respawned now. They still have one super minion left in that wave to push with. And you look at them, the prize is in their eyes. Fnatic have their cooldowns back aside from 2 ignites, not a big deal. They even get a blue buff steal. And Fnatic, this is the what looks like the game-winning push for Fnatic if they execute it right.
Alex was trying to push out that top lane, but instead he's left it exposed, and Fnatic just walking straight in towards the bottom lane. No need for backdooring from Peke this time around. They're just putting their big size 10 boot straight through the front door, and Gambit, unfortunately, can't do anything about it. And they are going to get driven out. Solar Flare lands. Diamond Prox just gets dropped where he stands. Chain of Corruption on towards Voidal. Voidal gets hammered as well. It's a double for Pushu. Darian next target. He's tanky, but he's not that tanky. He can't prevent 5 members of Fnatic just stomping on his face. Peke picks up the kill. Bottom inhibitor goes down. Middle inhibitor will follow. Just 2 members, Alex and Kenja, stand in the way of a 3-1 victory for Fnatic, and they are just going to drive this one through into the base.
This is going to be everything for Fnatic right now. Even comes in on Alex Itch. Here's the good bullet time. It's not going to mean much. Alex goes down. Peke is going to survive. The turrets have a very different fate. They're going to be going down. This will be Fnatic's game.
The score says it all, ladies and gentlemen. 21 kills to 3, 7-0-11 for Peke, 11-0-5 for Pushu. The AD carry and AD AP mid did their job. Fnatic and win 3-1 in the group.